The Traverse City State Hospital in Michigan is one of the most intriguing haunted locations in the United States. Built in the late 19th century, specifically in the year 1885, this grand mental health facility quickly became a cornerstone for treating patients with mental illnesses. At its height, the hospital housed more than 4,000 patients, making it the largest mental health facility in Michigan at the time. The hospital's founding was inspired by the innovative ideas of Dr. James Decker Munson, a pioneer in mental health care. He believed in treating patients with dignity and humanity, which was a revolutionary concept during that era. This approach was reflected in the hospital's design, which followed the Kirkbride plan, a layout intended to create a calming and therapeutic environment. The sprawling campus, adorned with lush gardens and surrounded by natural beauty, was meant to contribute to patients' recovery. But beneath this idyllic setting lies a darker narrative. Over its many decades of operation, the hospital witnessed its fair share of tragedies. Life in an asylum during the 19th and early 20th centuries was often challenging. And even with Dr. Munson's progressive vision, the institution could not escape the harsh realities of the era. Patients battled the unknowns of mental health care, some succumbing to their illnesses within these very walls. Their stories, whispers of pain and resilience, seem to linger in the atmosphere. Today, the hospital is known not only for its historical significance, but also for the mysterious energy that surrounds it. Visitors frequently describe an overwhelming sense of unease as they approach the building, as though unseen eyes are watching. Even in daylight, the towering brick structure casts long shadows that seem to stretch further than they should, hinting at a hidden life within its walls. The hospital's haunting reputation draws paranormal investigators and ghost story enthusiasts from all over the world. For many, it's not just the stories of ghostly apparitions that intrigue, but the feeling that the building itself has a story to tell. Its halls and rooms seem to whisper, holding secrets of lives once lived and the sorrow of those who never left. As we begin this journey into the Traverse City State Hospital's haunted history, it's important to remember the humanity of those who once called it home. Their lives, marked by struggle and often misunderstood, are a poignant reminder of the delicate line between history and the supernatural. The echoes of the past are alive here, and this is only the beginning of their tale. The Traverse City State Hospital's reputation as a haunted location stems from its long and complicated history. For decades, the hospital functioned as a beacon of mental health care, but it was also a place where many lives were forever altered. As the years passed, accounts of strange occurrences and unexplainable phenomena began to surface, fueling stories of restless spirits and lingering energies. The hospital's operations spanned nearly a century before it closed in the year 1989. During its time, many patients lived and died within its walls, and their experiences left an indelible mark on the building. While the hospital was designed with the best intentions to provide humane care, the medical practices of the late 19th and early 20th centuries often included methods now considered harsh or outdated. Treatments such as electroshock therapy and lobotomies were performed in hospitals like this one, leaving many to wonder if the residual trauma from such procedures contributes to its ghostly activity. One of the most frequently reported paranormal experiences involves unexplained voices. Visitors have often described hearing faint whispers echoing through the empty halls, as if conversations from the past are still taking place. Others claim to hear sudden sharp cries or the soft sound of footsteps trailing them, though no one else is present. The hospital's basements, once used as storage areas and tunnels for staff movement, have become notorious for their unsettling atmosphere. People who have ventured into these lower levels often report feeling an oppressive heaviness, as though the air itself carries the weight of the past. Some have described encountering shadowy figures lurking just out of reach, their shapes dissolving into the darkness when approached. The third-floor infirmary is another area steeped in ghostly lore. This section of the hospital, where many patients spent their final days, is said to be one of the most active for paranormal sightings. Apparitions of former patients are occasionally seen pacing the corridors or standing at windows, staring out into the grounds as if waiting for something or someone that never came. In addition to visual encounters, the hospital is infamous for its peculiar sounds. Doors are said to open and close on their own, and objects have been reported moving without explanation. Paranormal investigators have captured recordings of disembodied voices and unidentifiable noises, lending weight to the claims of supernatural activity. The hospital's sprawling grounds also contribute to its eerie reputation. The surrounding wooded areas, once used as gardens and therapeutic spaces for patients, are now a source of unease for visitors. Many have reported hearing faint laughter or seeing figures wandering through the trees, only to find no one there upon investigation. While the Traverse City State Hospital is remembered as a site of medical innovation and care, it is equally defined by the mysteries and unanswered questions that linger in its shadowy halls. The unexplained occurrences are as much a part of its story as the historical events that shaped it, drawing people from all over the world to uncover its secrets. As we journey further into the history of the Traverse City State Hospital, the stories of specific hauntings become impossible to ignore. Each floor, corridor, and room seems to carry its own tale of ghostly encounters, creating an intricate tapestry of supernatural activity. While some stories remain vague, others have been recounted with consistent details by numerous visitors over the years. One of the hospital's most famous spirits is that of a little boy, often seen playing near the former children's ward. Descriptions of this apparition include a boy wearing outdated clothing, possibly from the early 20th century. Witnesses have reported hearing the sound of small footsteps running down the hallways, accompanied by faint laughter that quickly fades away. Despite extensive investigations, there has never been a clear explanation for his presence. The hospital's former attic space is another area with a chilling reputation. Once used to house patients during overcrowded periods, it is now the source of some of the most unsettling reports. Visitors claim to feel cold spots in the attic, even on warm days, as well as hearing faint sobbing echoing through the empty space. Paranormal investigators have reported strong electromagnetic field readings in this area, despite there being no electrical sources nearby. One of the eeriest tales involves the infamous Red Room, a small, windowless space located deep within the hospital. Its exact purpose remains unclear, but it is believed to have been used for isolation or storage. Many visitors have described feeling an overwhelming sense of dread upon entering this room, with some claiming to see dark, shadowy figures darting across the walls. There are even reports of people suddenly feeling ill or faint, as though the room itself exudes a malevolent energy. The hospital's historic chapel is another hotbed of paranormal activity. Built to provide patients and staff with spiritual solace, the chapel now seems to serve as a focal point for ghostly phenomena. Visitors often report hearing the faint strains of organ music, even though the organ has long since been removed. Others claim to see fleeting apparitions in the pews, as if former patients are still attending services. Perhaps the most disturbing encounters occur in the network of tunnels beneath the hospital. Originally constructed to transport supplies and provide staff with sheltered access to different parts of the facility, these tunnels have become synonymous with spine-chilling experiences. Many have described seeing shadowy figures moving through the tunnels, sometimes following them silently. Footsteps echo ominously, and faint voices can be heard, though no one else is present. Even the hospital grounds have their share of ghostly stories. The old barns and farm buildings, once part of the hospital's self-sustaining operations, are said to be haunted by the spirits of former patients who worked there. Apparitions have been seen tending to invisible livestock, and some visitors have heard faint, mournful singing drifting through the air. These specific stories of hauntings and ghostly encounters serve to deepen the mystery of the Traverse City State Hospital. Each account adds another layer to the hospital's chilling reputation, drawing even more curiosity from those who seek to uncover its hidden truths. For the brave souls who venture into these spaces, the stories provide a haunting reminder of the lives and tragedies that once filled this historic structure. The Traverse City State Hospital's reputation as a haunted location has attracted the attention of countless paranormal investigators, historians, and curious visitors. This sustained interest has led to numerous attempts to uncover the truth behind the eerie occurrences reported within its walls. Each investigation brings a mix of evidence, speculation, and theories that only add to the mystique of the site. Professional paranormal investigation groups have visited the hospital many times, employing advanced tools such as electromagnetic field detectors, thermal cameras, and audio recording devices. While skeptics argue that many of the reported anomalies could be explained by the age and condition of the building, some findings are difficult to dismiss. For example, recordings from multiple investigations have captured unexplained voices, known as electronic voice phenomena, EVP. In one notable instance, investigators recorded what sounded like a faint plea for help coming from an empty corridor. Temperature fluctuations are another common phenomenon observed during investigations. Paranormal researchers have documented sudden and extreme drops in temperature in specific areas, such as the tunnels and the chapel. These cold spots are considered by some as potential evidence of ghostly activity, particularly when paired with reports of unseen presences. Theories about the hauntings vary widely, with some attributing the activity to the hospital's history of patient suffering and the emotional weight of the lives that pass through its doors. Others suggest the limestone foundation of the building may act as a recording device, a concept known as the stone tape theory. This theory posits that the emotional energy of past events can imprint itself on a location, replaying as ghostly phenomena. Cultural depictions of the Traverse City State Hospital have also played a significant role in solidifying its reputation as a haunted landmark. Numerous books, documentaries, and articles have chronicled its history and ghost stories, often blending fact and legend. The hospital's eerie architecture and storied past have made it a popular setting for fictional tales and urban legends, further cementing its place in local folklore. Public interest in the hospital has led to organized ghost tours and events, where visitors can explore specific areas known for paranormal activity. These tours are often guided by local historians or paranormal enthusiasts who recount the most compelling stories and share personal experiences. These events have become a significant draw for the region, offering an opportunity to connect with the hospital's history in a way that feels both educational and thrilling. The preservation and adaptive reuse of the hospital have also sparked conversations about its lingering reputation. While much of the structure has been transformed into commercial and residential spaces, certain areas remain closed off, shrouded in mystery. This juxtaposition of modern revitalization with untouched, reportedly haunted sections creates a unique dynamic, drawing people from all walks of life to explore its mysteries. In reflecting on the enduring legacy of the Traverse City State Hospital, it's clear that its ghostly reputation has become an inseparable part of its identity. Whether or not the stories are rooted in supernatural truth, they continue to captivate and inspire those who visit, ensuring the hospital's place as one of Michigan's most fascinating landmarks. The Traverse City State Hospital stands as a monument to a time in history when mental health care was undergoing significant change, often marked by trial, error, and controversy. Its enduring reputation as one of the most haunted locations in Michigan adds an enigmatic layer to its legacy, inviting questions about the interplay between history, human experience, and the supernatural. The preservation and repurposing of the hospital complex into the village at Grand Traverse Commons have been widely celebrated as a triumph of historic restoration. This transformation has allowed the property to retain its architectural grandeur while fostering a renewed sense of purpose. However, this restoration also underscores the duality of the hospital's story. While much of the site now thrives as a hub for community life, echoes of its darker history remain in the minds of those who visit. The hospital's place in the local culture of Traverse City is both historical and contemporary. Its story has become a touchstone for exploring broader societal shifts in how mental health care was approached during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The facility's history serves as a reminder of the progress that has been made in the field of psychiatry and the work that remains to ensure that such mistakes are not repeated. The countless paranormal reports and investigations associated with the site speak to humanity's fascination with the unknown. While scientific explanations for many of the phenomena remain plausible, the persistence of ghost stories and unexplained occurrences ensures that the hospital retains an air of mystery. For many, the experiences reported at the hospital are more than folklore. They are personal encounters that solidify their belief in the supernatural. Today, visitors to the site often come seeking a connection to its storied past, whether through exploring its grounds, attending ghost tours, or simply reflecting on its unique place in Michigan's history. The hospital has become a symbol of both the resilience of the human spirit and the weight of its historical baggage. Its transformation from an institution that once housed society's most vulnerable to a vibrant community space is a testament to the power of preservation and the importance of remembering the past, even when it is unsettling. As the final chapter in this story remains unwritten, the Traverse City State Hospital continues to captivate and intrigue. Whether it's a site of historical significance, architectural beauty, or alleged paranormal activity, it is a place where history and mystery intersect. It reminds us that the stories we tell, both real and imagined, have the power to shape our understanding of the world and our place within it. Mackinac Island, located in Michigan, is a place that holds a mysterious charm. For centuries, the island has been a destination full of history, stunning views, and strange stories. People have come and gone, but there's something different about this small island. With over 100 reported ghost sightings, it's clear that Mackinac Island has a reputation that goes beyond its beauty. The island sits between Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas, making it a peaceful getaway today, but its past is anything but tranquil. It's been home to different Native American tribes, French settlers, British colonists, and American pioneers. Each group brought their own stories, and with them, it seems, some of the souls never left. The blending of these cultures and the island's history of conflict set the stage for strange occurrences that would make this island one of the most haunted places in the United States. In the late 1700s, the French set up a fort on Mackinac Island, hoping to control the important trade routes in the Great Lakes. But the British soon took over, bringing more tension and bloodshed to the area. Stories of fierce battles and broken lives still echo through the island's streets. Ghosts of soldiers, both British and Native American, are said to haunt the land to this day, making it hard to ignore the dark past that lingers over the island. Today, Mackinac Island is known for its quaint charm and its old-world feel. There are no cars, and visitors get around by horse-drawn carriage, bicycles, or on foot. People come for the breathtaking views, the historic buildings, and the iconic Grand Hotel. But some come for something else entirely, something far more chilling. Over the years, stories of ghostly sightings and eerie encounters have been passed down from one visitor to the next. It's not uncommon for tourists to feel a chill as they walk down the island's foggy streets or hear mysterious footsteps behind them when no one is there. The island's dark history, combined with the many accounts of supernatural activity, has led people to believe that Mackinac Island is not just a place for history, but for the paranormal as well. To understand why Mackinac Island is so haunted, we need to look back at its dark and often violent history. Long before it became a popular tourist destination, Mackinac Island was the site of several key events that shaped the region. These events, many of which were filled with bloodshed and tragedy, created the perfect conditions for ghost stories to take root. In the mid-1700s, the French began to establish a military presence on the island, building Fort Michilimackinac. The fort quickly became a critical location for trade and military operations, particularly for the French in their efforts to control the region. However, this peaceful setup wouldn't last long. In one of the island's most significant events, in 1762, the British seized the fort from the French. This sudden change in control caused tension between the British and the Native American tribes who had long relied on French alliances for trade. As British control tightened, so did the conflict. In 1779, during the American Revolutionary War, the British and Native American forces clashed with American troops on Mackinac Island. The battle was brutal, and many soldiers, both American and British, lost their lives. The violence of that time left a heavy mark on the island. Today, people report hearing the sounds of distant cannons and marching soldiers late at night. Some claim to see ghostly figures of soldiers, locked in an eternal struggle, walking the island's foggy paths. The island was also the site of many personal tragedies, some of which may explain why so many spirits are said to roam the area. One of the most haunting stories is that of a woman named Elizabeth, a Native American woman who was brutally murdered during the late 1700s. Elizabeth's death, allegedly at the hands of a British soldier, is said to have left her spirit restless. Many who have visited the island claim to feel a sudden coldness in certain areas, and some even claim to see her ghost wandering the island, searching for justice that was never served. In addition to these violent events, the British occupation brought with it a number of ghost stories tied to their soldiers. One of the most chilling is the tale of a British soldier who is said to have been cursed after a violent battle with a Native American warrior. The soldier, who allegedly took part in the massacre of a peaceful Native American village, was said to have been haunted by the spirit of the warrior he killed. Legend says that the soldier's soul was forever tormented, and his restless spirit is still seen on the island, sometimes wearing the uniform of a British soldier, marching aimlessly through the fog. These stories from the island's past contribute to the eerie atmosphere that the visitors experience today. It's not just the physical landscape that makes Mackinac Island a place of fascination. It's the lingering presence of those who never truly left. The spirits of soldiers, settlers, and innocent victims of violence all seem to remain, trapped in the island's history and in the hearts of those who visit. Mackinac Island's violent past isn't the only source of its haunting reputation. As the years passed, the island became home to a number of notable structures that now contribute to its ghostly lore. Fort Mackinac, which played a central role during the American Revolution, was used as a military post until 1895. After its closure, it became a popular tourist attraction. Many visitors report strange sounds echoing from the fort, and some even claim to have seen figures standing in the windows of abandoned buildings. The island's history of war, death, and heartbreak laid the foundation for the supernatural activity that now defines Mackinac Island. Over the centuries, these events have shaped the land and the spirits that walk it. As we'll see in the next part, it's not just the distant past that haunts Mackinac Island. Its more recent history is just as filled with eerie encounters. Mackinac Island is not just famous for its rich history, but also for its many specific locations that are said to be haunted. These places have earned their ghostly reputations over the years, and they continue to draw curious visitors hoping to experience the paranormal firsthand. As we venture into some of the most haunted spots on the island, it becomes clear that Mackinac's eerie atmosphere is no accident. One of the most well-known haunted spots in Mackinac Island is the Grand Hotel. Opened in 1887, the Grand Hotel is a stunning Victorian-style building, famed for its beauty and charm. However, behind the grandeur, the hotel has a long history of paranormal activity. Many guests and staff have reported strange occurrences over the years. Some have claimed to see ghostly figures wandering the halls, while others have experienced doors mysteriously slamming shut or heard the sound of footsteps when no one is around. There are even reports of guests hearing strange whispers in the middle of the night, which seem to come from empty rooms. One particularly chilling tale is that of a former hotel employee who, according to legend, met a tragic end. It's said that his restless spirit still roams the hotel in search of justice, though no one knows the full story behind his death. Another popular location is Fort Mackinac, the site of numerous military skirmishes and where many soldiers met their end. The fort, which was established in 1779, continues to stand today as one of the island's most visited attractions. While many people come to admire its architecture and historical significance, others come to seek out the ghostly figures said to haunt its grounds. It's not uncommon for visitors to hear the sound of marching boots or see shadowy figures dressed in uniforms from the Revolutionary War era. There have also been numerous reports of mysterious voices coming from the fort, particularly in areas that were once used for storage and barracks. Some say the spirits of fallen soldiers remain, reliving the battles they fought and the lives they lost. The Mission Point Resort is another location that is often associated with paranormal activity. The resort is located near the island's eastern shore and was once a school for the children of wealthy families in the late 19th century. It was also used as a military post during the War of 1812. Some believe that the spirits of children who once attended the school still linger at the resort, and there have been reports of children's laughter echoing through empty hallways. Others have reported feeling a heavy oppressive energy while walking through certain rooms, as though something or someone is watching them. Many guests who stay at the Mission Point Resort claim to have experienced ghostly visions, from fleeting shadows to full apparitions that vanish as quickly as they appear. Then there's the island's ghost tours, which have become increasingly popular in recent years. The tours take visitors through some of Mackinac Island's most haunted spots, including several cemeteries, old houses, and battlefields. Tour guides often share stories of paranormal encounters that visitors have had, recounting tales of strange sightings, unexplained sounds, and eerie sensations. In one famous case, a group of tourists on a night tour near the Mackinac Island Cemetery were startled when the air around them grew unusually cold. Soon after, they saw the ghostly figure of a woman dressed in white, slowly walking among the gravestones. When they tried to approach, the figure vanished into the night, leaving behind only the sound of wind rustling the trees. The Arch Rock is another location that adds to the island's haunted reputation. This stunning natural formation, which rises over 100 feet above the ground, offers breathtaking views of the island. However, some claim that Arch Rock is the site of an ancient tragedy. Local legend says that a Native American woman, heartbroken over a lost love, leapt to her death from the rock. Visitors often report feeling an inexplicable sense of sadness while standing near the arch, and some claim to have seen the shadowy figure of a woman standing at the edge, as if waiting for her lover to return. Others have experienced strange sensations, like an overwhelming feeling of dread or a sudden chill in the air, even on the warmest days. While these haunted locations certainly stand out, they're by no means the only places on Mackinac Island that seem to be home to restless spirits. The entire island has an eerie quality that seems to permeate the air, from its quiet streets to its old buildings. Many visitors have reported feeling as though they are being watched, and some even claim to have been followed by unseen forces. Whether it's the spirits of soldiers, settlers, or long-lost loves, the ghostly presence on Mackinac Island is undeniable. As we wrap up, we will explore some of the most chilling encounters and stories of paranormal activity that have been shared by those who have visited the island. From haunted rooms to terrifying experiences, Mackinac Island continues to be a place that leaves an impression, one that might just follow you home. Mackinac Island's eerie charm doesn't fade as you explore its many haunted locations. Instead, it only deepens, leaving visitors with a sense of mystery that lingers long after they leave. The island's ghost stories and paranormal encounters are far from just tales. They are a central part of the island's history and present-day allure. What makes Mackinac Island stand out among other haunted destinations is its seamless blend of history, personal tragedy, and lingering spirits that refuse to let go. One of the most compelling aspects of Mackinac Island's haunting reputation is the number of personal accounts shared by visitors and locals alike. For example, many guests at the Grand Hotel have reported seeing a woman in a Victorian gown walking the halls at night. Some claim she is a former guest who passed away on the island and now wanders the halls, lost and searching for her place in the world. There's something uniquely haunting about these personal stories. The idea that someone, having lived a full life, could leave behind their body but remain tethered to a place they once loved. Whether it's a lost soul, seeking closure, or simply a spirit unable to move on, these tales contribute to the island's unforgettable atmosphere. What's particularly striking about Mackinac Island's hauntings is the frequency with which these experiences happen. It's not unusual for multiple people to share eerily similar accounts, especially in locations like Fort Mackinac or Mission Point Resort. Tourists who visit the island often remark on the odd, almost tangible energy that seems to hang in the air, and many report that their experiences happen without warning, as though the ghosts are actively reaching out to them. One particularly chilling story involves a group of visitors who stayed at a local inn. In the middle of the night, they heard footsteps approaching their room, only for the door to creak open. When they looked, no one was there, yet the sound of footsteps continued. These unexplained experiences are reported time and time again, leading many to believe that Mackinac Island's ghosts are not just stories, but real, lingering presences. And let's not forget the deeply unsettling encounter reported by a group of teenagers who ventured into Fort Mackinac one evening. They had heard the ghost stories and wanted to see for themselves. As they roamed through the fort's old barracks, they suddenly felt a shift in the atmosphere, a sudden coldness that overtook the room. Just as they turned to leave, they heard a loud bang echo from the walls. The lights went out, and when they came back on, the teenagers found themselves in a different part of the fort. They couldn't explain what had happened. Some believe it was a manifestation of the spirits trapped in the fort, trying to communicate with the living, while others think it was simply the result of the island's unique atmosphere, a mix of mystery and old-world charm that plays tricks on the mind. What sets these stories apart from other ghostly legends is the connection between the island's violent past and its paranormal activity. Throughout history, Mackinac Island has witnessed battles, betrayals, and personal tragedies. These events have left a lasting imprint, with some even speculating that the island's ghosts are drawn from the traumatic events that took place here. In one of the bloodiest chapters of Mackinac Island's history, the Battle of Mackinac Island occurred in 1812, during the War of 1812. While not as widely discussed as other historic battles, this confrontation between the British and American forces resulted in a significant number of casualties, and many believe that the spirits of soldiers who lost their lives on the island still linger, seeking justice or revenge. Whether it's the spirits of soldiers marching silently across the land, or the cries of those who were wronged, these echoes of war seem to never fade, continuing to haunt the island to this day. Another key aspect of Mackinac Island's ghost stories is the paranormal activity that seems to follow certain individuals, no matter where they go. Visitors who may have felt safe and secure in their homes find themselves with strange sensations after visiting the island. Many have described dreams filled with dark figures or a sense of being watched when they return to their everyday lives. This kind of after effect is one of the most unsettling aspects of Mackinac Island's haunting reputation. It's not just about what happens while you're there, but what might follow you after you leave. For some, the experience of Mackinac Island lingers in ways that can't be easily explained, adding to the mystery of whether these spirits are truly bound to the island, or if they can reach out and touch the world beyond. In the end, whether you believe in the supernatural or not, there's no denying that Mackinac Island has earned its place among the most haunted destinations in the United States. Its blend of natural beauty, historical significance, and paranormal activity makes it an alluring place for those seeking a thrill, a mystery, or a glimpse into the unknown. The island's eerie charm continues to draw visitors, each hoping to experience the supernatural for themselves, or simply to hear the ghost stories that have been told for centuries. Mackinac Island is a place where the past and present collide, where the spirits of the old world still roam, and where the line between the living and the dead seems to blur. Whether it's the faint footsteps on a quiet night, the cold chill in the air, or the inexplicable presence of a ghostly figure, Mackinac Island will always hold its dark allure. And for those brave enough to seek it, the island promises not only a journey into history, but into the very heart of the unknown. Thanks for joining me on this ghostly journey through Mackinac Island. If you've ever visited or experienced something strange on the island, feel free to share your stories in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more chilling tales, and be sure to stay tuned for more haunted locations to explore. Michigan State Prison, also known as Jackson State Prison, has a long and dark history that dates back to 1842. It was one of the first prisons in the United States designed to hold a large number of inmates. Located in Jackson, Michigan, this imposing facility quickly gained a reputation for being a place where the worst criminals were sent. Over the course of its long existence, it housed some of the most notorious figures in American criminal history, including the infamous killer clown John Wayne Gacy. At its peak, Michigan State Prison was one of the largest walled prisons in the world, housing thousands of inmates at a time. The prison's brutal reputation was earned not just through the criminals it housed, but also through the treatment of those who lived within its walls. The overcrowding, harsh conditions, and strict routines made Michigan State Prison notorious among the inmates who were forced to call it home. For many, it was not just a prison. It was a place of suffering, despair, and eventually, death. But Michigan State Prison wasn't just a facility for punishment. It was also a place where some of the most violent and tragic events in American prison history occurred. It was here that the prison experienced some of the most intense and deadly riots, as well as failed executions, which would later become part of its haunted legacy. One of the first signs that the prison was more than just a place for criminals to serve their time came from the stories told by those who worked at the prison. Guards, staff, and even some inmates began to speak of strange occurrences, odd sounds echoing through the halls, doors slamming shut on their own, and a heavy sense of dread that seemed to hang in the air. These early reports would go on to become the foundation for the many ghost stories and paranormal legends that would haunt the prison for years to come. Despite its dark history, Michigan State Prison continued to operate until 1972, when it was officially closed. Yet even after its closure, the whispers of paranormal activity remained. Those who visited the now abandoned prison began to experience strange events. From disembodied voices to shadowy figures that seemed to appear and vanish without explanation, it was clear that whatever force haunted the prison was far from gone. As we step deeper into the prison's troubled past, we begin to see how its long history of violence, death, and suffering laid the groundwork for the many eerie encounters that would follow. From the beginning, Michigan State Prison was never just a place for incarceration. It was a place where the spirits of the past would forever remain. In the next part, we'll explore some of the tragic events that made the prison the eerie, haunted location it is today. Michigan State Prison's reputation for tragedy and violence started to take shape early in its history. It wasn't long before the prison was the site of numerous violent incidents, from riots to botched executions. These events added layers of fear and despair to the already grim atmosphere of the prison, and many believe it is these dark events that contributed to its reputation as one of the most haunted places in Michigan. One of the most notorious events in the prison's history occurred in 1952. A violent prison riot broke out when inmates, frustrated with the prison's overcrowding and harsh conditions, decided to take matters into their own hands. The riot quickly escalated, leading to a deadly confrontation between prisoners and guards. Several guards lost their lives during this uprising, and the violence was so intense that it left a lasting mark on the prison's legacy. Afterward, the prison was left scarred, both physically and emotionally, with many inmates and staff members reporting a chilling atmosphere in the wake of the riot. While the riot was one of the most well-known acts of violence, it wasn't the only one. Over the years, Michigan State Prison was the site of multiple other incidents, including brutal beatings between inmates, gang violence, and the deaths of prisoners under mysterious or questionable circumstances. These deaths only added to the sense of unease that seemed to permeate the prison. The question many began to ask was, could all these tragic events be the reason why so many claim the prison is haunted? The answer, according to many former inmates and prison staff, seems to be yes. The botched executions at Michigan State Prison only fueled the growing belief that the prison was cursed. Some of the most infamous executions were carried out here, but not all of them went according to plan. In 1938, an execution by gas chamber went wrong, leading to the suffering of the prisoner long after the process should have been over. Such incidents only served to increase the prison's dark reputation, and many believe that the souls of those who suffered there still haunt the place to this day. In addition to the physical violence, the prison's cramped conditions made it a breeding ground for mental and emotional suffering. With overcrowding becoming an ongoing issue, inmates were often forced into conditions that would break even the toughest of individuals. Many inmates suffered from mental illnesses, which were poorly treated during the prison's early years. This only added to the sense of despair that many felt within the prison's walls. It's believed by some that the suffering of these inmates has left a permanent imprint on the prison, contributing to the ongoing paranormal activity that many claim to experience. As the years went on, it became clear that Michigan State Prison was not just a place of physical confinement, but also a place where the spirits of those who lived and died there remained trapped. The suffering, violence, and tragic events created a perfect storm for hauntings. From the anguished souls of those who died in the riots or botched executions, to the tortured spirits of those who endured years of mental and physical hardship, the prison became a breeding ground for paranormal activity. Next, we'll explore some of the specific ghosts and legends that have become associated with Michigan State Prison. From the tales of restless spirits to the shadowy figures seen wandering the prison grounds, we will uncover the terrifying stories that continue to haunt this infamous location. As we delve deeper into the eerie past of Michigan State Prison, we start to uncover the many ghostly encounters and legends that have surrounded the prison for years. With its violent history and long history of suffering, it's no surprise that many believe the spirits of those who died here never truly left. In fact, countless paranormal encounters have been reported by visitors, staff, and former inmates, further cementing the prison's reputation as one of the most haunted places in Michigan. One of the most well-known and chilling ghost stories associated with Michigan State Prison is that of the Kid. Legend has it that this young inmate, whose real name has been lost to history, was wrongly accused of a crime he did not commit. Despite his protests, He was sentenced to life in prison and spent years behind bars. Tragically, the kid passed away at a young age within the prison walls, never receiving justice. His restless spirit is said to roam the corridors of the prison, searching for the truth and redemption that eluded him in life. Many people have reported seeing a shadowy figure, a young man lingering in the prison's hallways, as if he's still waiting for justice. There are also numerous reports of ghostly voices that seem to come from nowhere, echoing through the darkened halls. Visitors often hear what sounds like footsteps following them when no one is around, and some have even reported hearing disembodied whispers or calls for help in the middle of the night. These strange occurrences only seem to increase when people enter areas of the prison known for their violent past, like the death row cells or the execution chamber. Some believe these sounds are the cries of inmates who were wrongfully executed, or the anguished cries of those who suffered violent deaths during riots and confrontations. One of the most disturbing accounts comes from the prison's old execution chamber. After years of botched executions and tragic deaths, the room is said to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. Visitors report sudden drops in temperature, a sense of overwhelming dread, and the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. Some even claim to have seen dark, shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the room, their features impossible to make out but their presence unmistakable. These shadowy figures are said to be the souls of those who met their end in the execution chamber, forever bound to the place where their lives were taken. While these sightings are terrifying enough, there are also reports of full-bodied apparitions that appear and vanish in an instant. Inmates and staff alike have spoken of seeing figures dressed in prison garb wandering the halls, seemingly unaware of their surroundings. Some believe these spirits are former inmates who are trapped within the prison's walls, unable to escape the torment they endured in life. These apparitions have been seen at all hours of the day and night, adding to the sense of unease that permeates the prison. Perhaps one of the most unusual paranormal phenomena is the overwhelming feeling of despair that many experience when entering certain areas of the prison. Visitors have reported an oppressive atmosphere in the areas where the worst violence occurred. Some have described the sensation of being physically drained, as if the very walls of the prison are absorbing their energy. This strange feeling is often accompanied by sudden bursts of cold air, even in the warmer months, and it's said to be most intense in the areas where the most violent and tragic events took place. One particularly eerie account comes from a former prison guard who worked at Michigan State Prison for over a decade. He claimed that on several occasions, he would walk past the prison's old hospital wing and hear faint cries for help coming from within, even though no one was supposed to be there. He also reported hearing the sound of chains dragging on the floor in the same area, despite there being no prisoners or guards in sight. The guard eventually came to believe that the prison's haunted reputation was no exaggeration, and that the spirits of the past were indeed very much present. The tales of restless spirits, shadowy figures, and eerie sounds have led many to believe that Michigan State Prison is not just a place of physical confinement, but a place where the spirits of the past continue to haunt its halls. Whether it's the tragic ghosts of the wrongly accused, the tortured souls of inmates who perished in riots, or the vengeful spirits of those who died in the execution chamber, the prison is a living reminder of the dark history it holds. In the next part, we will take a closer look at some of the infamous legends and haunting encounters that have occurred at Michigan State Prison, as well as the lingering questions that still surround the prison's troubled past. We'll also explore how these ghostly sightings and events have kept the prison on the list of one of the most haunted places in America. As we come to the final chapter of Michigan State Prison's haunted history, we reflect on its dark legacy and the ongoing mysteries that continued to captivate both skeptics and believers. Despite its closure in 1991, the prison's grim past continues to echo through the streets of Jackson, Michigan, as visitors and ghost hunters flock to the abandoned facility in search of answers. The prison's unsettling reputation for paranormal activity has made it a popular destination for thrill seekers, ghost hunters, and those intrigued by the supernatural. In fact, the prison has become a hotbed for paranormal investigations, with numerous teams attempting to uncover the secrets that still lurk within its walls. While many of these investigations have yielded compelling evidence, such as recorded EVP, electronic voice phenomena, and strange thermal readings, the haunting nature of Michigan State Prison remains as enigmatic as ever. What makes this place so terrifying is not just the physical suffering that took place within its walls, but the lingering energy that seems to haunt it to this day. One of the most troubling aspects of the prison's haunted history is the sheer number of violent events that occurred here. Beyond the executions and riots, the prison also experienced a history of abuse and mistreatment of its inmates. Reports of torture, solitary confinement, and overcrowding created a toxic atmosphere where violence and despair flourished. With such a dark and painful history, it's easy to understand why many believe that the spirits of those who died here are unable to rest. It's as if the walls themselves absorb the energy of suffering, perpetuating the eerie phenomena that continue to haunt the space. Perhaps the most chilling mystery that surrounds Michigan State Prison is the question of what lies beneath. The prison's extensive underground tunnels and hidden passageways were used for a variety of purposes, from transporting prisoners to providing access for guards. However, some believe that these tunnels may have been used for something far more sinister, such as hiding evidence of illegal activities or even secret executions. While the tunnels have been sealed off for years, they remain an important part of the prison's haunted legacy. Could there be something even darker hiding beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered? Even today, visitors to the prison report strange experiences that defy explanation. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling their names, while others feel a sudden, unexplained presence looming behind them. There have been reports of unexplained lights flickering in the abandoned cells and shadows moving on their own. But perhaps the most unsettling accounts are the reports of people who have felt physically touched by unseen hands, with some even claiming to have been shoved or scratched by an invisible force. The intensity of these experiences has led many to believe that the spirits trapped within the prison are not just haunting the place, but actively interacting with those who dare to enter. Despite its closing and abandonment, Michigan State Prison continues to be a place where the boundary between the living and the dead seems to blur. Whether it's the spirits of those wrongfully accused, the tortured souls of those who died in violence, or the lingering presence of the prison guards who oversaw the harsh conditions, the prison remains a place where the supernatural and the historical collide. In conclusion, Michigan State Prison is much more than just a haunted landmark. It is a living testament to the dark and troubled history of the American penal system, a place where suffering, violence, and death left their indelible mark. The ghostly sightings, strange occurrences, and lingering spirits that continue to haunt the prison serve as a reminder of the pain and injustice that unfolded within its walls. Whether you are a believer in the supernatural or not, it's clear that Michigan State Prison is a place that continues to fascinate and terrify, drawing people from all over the world who are seeking answers to the mysteries that still remain. Thanks for joining me as we uncovered the chilling truth behind one of Michigan's most haunted places. If you've had any personal experiences or have your own thoughts about the hauntings at Michigan State Prison, be sure to leave a comment below. And don't forget to explore other spooky locations in our other videos. Until next time, keep your lights on. You never know what might be lurking in the dark.